I'm Erik Petersen. I drove a tank here in 1945, and now I still live in the United States. I have a home in Oregon and another home in Arizona. I'm a snowbird. So I enjoy coming here every year. This is my 19th time, including the first time I came over in 1945. I got my tank in Normandy, and it only had 11 miles on it. When I got to Petersen, it had 1,000 miles on it. I love the Czech people. That's why I come back so often. They treat me so well, better than they do in the United States. And in the United States, I'm nobody. Here, I'm a big wheel. And I get all this attention, and I hear this word, liberator. Well, the first time I heard liberator during the war, it was a bomber, B-24 bomber. That was a liberator. So now I realize what a liberator is. And we liberated from the Nazis. In Petersen, we took 7,000 German prisoners in 1945. My division got here 6 May 1945. After we got here, I was a tank driver. The Germans were firing at our tanks with rifles, which is kind of stupid, I thought. But anyway, we headed south, past Bori, and about 3 miles south, we caught a German convoy trying to escape back to Germany. We took them prisoners. And I was the only one in my outfit that could speak a little bit of German. And they lined them up, and I told them, I says, "Für uns der Krieg ist fertig." For you guys, the war is over. And no problem. They obeyed everything we asked them to, put their weapons on the ground, everything. But we had to march them back to Petersen. We couldn't spare a tank crew because every man had a job in a tank. So we got a cook. He didn't like the job, to march him back to Petersen. And he told a terrible story when he came back, that the Czechs didn't treat him too well really? When they got back there. So it was about 3 or 4 days after the war. There was a lot of little communities that didn't know the war was over because they were cut off. No communication. So we had to tell them the war is over. I remember riding into one little town, and in the square there was Nazi flags hanging up, so that must be a Nazi headquarters. I drove my tank right up to the window, and there was a German sitting at a typewriter. So we're talking to each other. We says, I wonder what he's typing about. Maybe a request for a transfer or a letter to his mom. So I had to stay with the tank. They went inside and the rest of them. There was about 4 or 5 other prisoners that we took. And that was one of the first towns that we liberated or changed. I took the paper out of the typewriter that he was typing. It was telling the Czech people the curfew hour has changed to 1 hour later. I had that paper for many years.
What did you do when you returned to America following the war?
I wanted to be an airline pilot because they had what they call a GI Bill of Rights. the veterans could get schooling much as they needed. Two of my friends got PhD, doctorate. I wanted to be an airline pilot, so I was going to night school. Then my wife took a trip back east to visit her parents. When she came back, she told me, I know why you want to be a pilot, airline pilot. All those pretty flight attendants. That was the end of my career as an airline pilot.
How has your experience been of the Pilsen Liberation Festival?
Yesterday, we're in a parade going down the street in Jeeps. I must have touched 2,000 people with my hands. And I could hear the voices on, Eric, Eric. The Czech people here in Pilsen really like Americans. Yes. I'm amazed. And back in the States, United States, the veterans don't get that much attention. I think they're waiting for them to die off. I'm not going. I'm staying right. I've asked many Czech people here, which was worse, living under the Nazis or under the communist rule? Every one of them said it was worse under the communist rule. In 1990, the first time I came back after the wall went down there, a Boy Scout, about 12 years old, knew quite a bit of English. He asked me, is it true that you drove a tank into Pilsen to liberate 1945? I says, yes. Well, my teacher says it was the Russians that came in here. So I asked, well, how about your parents? They say the same thing. So I said, how about your grandparents? My teacher said they're crazy. They changed history. The main reason why I came here in 1990, we had a Czech ambassador come to our banquet at a reunion we had for my division. And he told me that our plaque in the city hall was taken down by the communists. Oh, I got angry. I said, I'm going to go back there and raise Cain. So I came here and I met this fellow named Jaroslav Peklo, who worked for the city. He says, they put a new one up. I looked at it. It was made by the Skoda Works, the plaque. Mm-hmm. The plaque was thanking the Czech civilians that had rifles to help us get the German prisoners together. In one day, we took 7,000 prisoners. And at the time, it was President Havel, our ambassador, Shirley Temple Black, and myself. I was the president of the 16th Armored Division Association. So I had to talk after they did. And I think the first time ever we had a moment of silence for the departed, you know.